Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavittaram. Okay, so yesterday we saw the meaning of Pushti Vardhanam, means the one who nourishes our growth by shrinking our ego. That's how Bhagavan makes us grow. He shrinks our ego. So there's kind of a paradox in that statement. So let us look at the words to make sure we all understand the meanings of what we have done so far. So we have done Om, that divine truth. Trayambakam, the one with three eyes, Lord Shiva. Yajamahe, we worship, we sacrifice. Sugandhim, who is fragrant. Pushtivardhanam, who makes us grow. And now we are going to see today Urvarukamiva Bandhanat. So Urvarukam, like a cucumber, Bandhanat is freed from bondage. Like a cucumber is freed from bondage. Mukshiya Mrtyorho becomes Mrtyor. May I be free from death. And we already saw this term, death means suffering, means sorrow. So just like a cucumber is freed from bondage, may I be free from death. May I be liberated from death. This is what we're going to see today. So the thing is, when we look at this statement, may I be free from death, how many of us actually want to be free from death? How many of us actually want to be free from bondage? There is this beautiful Sanskritam story called Maya Jala. There was this one Brahmana, and this Brahmana was very pious. He was doing a lot of austerity, and he was married, and he did not have any children. So one day, a sannyasi came by his house and said, you know, because you're doing so much austerity, you're very pious, you're very good, I can take you to heaven. Come with me and I'll take you to heaven. And the Brahmana said, no, how can I go to heaven? I don't have children yet. My life won't be fulfilled until I have children. So the sannyasi said, okay, well, I bless you. And then, so the sannyasi left, and years passed, and the Brahmana actually had children. He had 3-4 children, they were very young, they were blossoming. So the sannyasi came to the Brahmana again. He said, now I see that you have very beautiful, wonderful children. Now, shall you go to heaven? Do you want to go to heaven? And the Brahmana said, no, how can I go? They're so young. I need to take care of them. I cannot go to heaven now. Sannyasi said, okay, all right, I'll come back for you. Then the children started growing up and they were adults. So time passed and the sannyasi came and the sannyasi said, oh, your children are older now. They're independent. They can do as they please. They can live their own life. Now you come to heaven with me. He said, no. They're not married. I want to see my children married. And so this sannyasi said, okay, all right. Tathastu, I bless you. So years passed by, and then the sannyasi went back to that same road again. But this time the sannyasi did not see that brahmana. That asana where that brahmana was empty. And so the sannyasi said, what happened? And see that brahmana had a factory, a grain factory. And that's how he made his, that's how he had his wealth. He had a grain factory, and that's how he was able to keep his living. So he thought and thought, the sannyasi, and through his siddhis, through his powers, he saw a bull in front of that place where the sannyasi used to stay. And he realized that the sannyasi had died, the brahmana had died. The brahmana had died and he became a bull. And the brahmana died and he became a bull, and he was carrying the grains. He was carrying the grains to one place, to the other place, one place to the other place. He was just carrying grains. So the sannyasi said, wow, this brahmana, he died and he became this bull. I don't understand. So now the sannyasi said, maybe he will go to heaven now. Maybe he wants to go to heaven now that he became a bull. So the sannyasi goes to that bull and says, oh, bull, I know that you are that brahmana. And now itself, I know you remember your previous birth. Now I can take you to heaven. The bull said, no, no, no. What are you talking about? My sons and my daughters, they have to make a living. And by being a bull, I'm helping to carry the grains so that they also can get wealth. If I don't do this kind of job, then who will do it? How will they become wealthy? How will they nourish their family? So I'm not coming to heaven now. Oh, the sannyasi said, okay, never mind. Now time passed by. Again, the sannyasi went back. Now this time the bull was not there, a dog was there. And the sannyasi thought, and through his siddhis, he realized that the bull became a dog. The bull had died and it became a dog. So the sannyasi said, now you're a dog. Now you better come with me to heaven. He said, no. Do you know how rich my children have become? They've become so rich that I have to guard their wealth. I have to be the dog that guards their wealth. If nobody guards their wealth, then people will steal. Oh, this sannyasi said, this is too much. So years again passed by. Sannyasi came. There was no more dog. It was a frog. And the dog died and became a frog. So the sannyasi said, now enough. How many births are you going to go through? Now you're a frog. Now at least come to heaven. And this frog was was making all these noises and said, oh sannyasi, don't you see? Now my children have children and I have such lovely grandchildren. Now as a frog, I can sit here and watch my grandchildren in action. I don't want heaven, sannyasi. You go and be in your own heaven. For me, this is what I want. And the sannyasi said, I will never go back to that place again. Never. That is the story. So, what do we see from this story? Nobody really wants to be free. We're praying Mrtyor, Mukshiya. Nobody here, how many people here, how many of us here really wants to be free? We say, no, don't take us now. We still have so many things to do. If we had that sannyasi come to our lives again and again and again, how many of us would actually go with that sannyasi? None of us, isn't it? That's why the prayer is Urvarukamiva Bandhanat. Like a ripe cucumber becomes free from bondage, let me become free. Which means before I have the desire to be free, I first have to become ripe. I have to first become ripe. Otherwise, I will never have the desire to be free. And what does this ripeness mean? This ripeness means vairagya, dispassion. Dispassion or vairagya means becoming ripe. What does it mean? That I don't want the world anymore. That is called vairagya or dispassion. When I have the feeling that I looked for all of the happiness and I didn't find it in the world. And therefore, I don't want the world anymore. When one gets that feeling inside, that means we have become ripe. I don't want the world anymore. Therefore, I want God. And when one gets the feeling, I want God, they become ready. So we have to become ripe and then ready. Then only we will want God. Otherwise, we won't want God. So Urvarukamiva Bandhanat, just like a ripe cucumber is freed from the creeper which keeps holding it, tying it. Let me become ripe. Let me realize that this world is not giving me what I want. And then, as that ripe cucumber falls from that creeper that's binding it, may I also be free from this world. May I never take birth again in any embodiment, be it a human, a bull, a dog, or a frog. May I never take birth again. That is called Mrtyor Mukshiya. This is the prayer for that. So when we sincerely want this in our hearts, then Bhagavan will grant it. But when we don't want it, oh, why would Bhagavan give it? Isn't it? That is the